That's and so if I could just change the subject real fast, I mean, people do not realize again like how much work those fighters put in, whatever. I do want to talk about someone, a group of people who do not have their work recognized quite as much as perhaps they should. Tournament organizers.
Oh
And
man,
one of the parts of the discourse that came up, and I know that BG is going to be happy about this, has a lot
yeah,
to say about this subject. A couple of weeks ago, someone put out something saying that yeah, there's a costs are increasing in terms of entry for the players, and they're thinking that tournament organizers are could be stealing from the community. Like, what value are they bringing to this to this if they're just going to increase costs, but we just get the same thing, or just something along those lines. Honestly, I forget exact what the exact verbiage is, and I'm not going to give this person the satisfaction of being named on this podcast because, frankly, they're just doing it to be incendiary. But I
yeah.
do want to talk to the people who have experience with this, and I will have a few figures to throw around for context. But BG Tiger Tosser, you two have seen the back end of what it costs to run a tournament. I mean, not even just locals, but which y'all do obviously,
Yeah.
but also like bigger tournaments where you're getting names out and you're having to pay for stream costs, you're having to pay for venue costs, you're having to do all these things and account for them. And it really is not the easy endeavor that people, would imagine it to be, BG.
No, absolutely not. The venue costs, if you're a bigger tournament like a CEO, Common Breaker, internet cost is massive. Also, if you have guests like we've had in the past, also getting vendors out to events, getting sponsors involved, all of that, it is not anything that you need to take on if you want to become rich. Okay.
Yeah.
It is something where it's a very labor of love. Anybody who's thinking we're rich off of this, me and Tiger Toss are definitely not from
No,
doing
not at
this.
all.
You're going to lose money from doing
Yeah,
it.
look at Tiger Tosser's camera. He's not rich. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look
no,
at
no.
it.
Hey,
Look at
man.
it. I can blur my background because I don't want you guys to know where I'm living. So that's where I am right now. So yeah, that person who said that, I don't know if they've ever been to a tournament or even talked to a tournament organizer. It is a lot of work for very little financial compensation.
It honestly, I don't know if you've seen this thing about Moist Critical. He said this. He owns
Yeah,
he literally said he's lost like $4 million like running his own esports team, and he's like, and I would do it again because I love it that much. But it's like you do
Bless
not,
him for that.
yeah, you really don't make money from it. It's
Hmm.
honestly like, I mean,
Hmm.
honestly, like me and BG, we throw. We're not gonna go in like specifics about it, but we throw a good amount. We throw a
yes,
good amount. That is like it's not like something that is like
Hmm.
something for like a small bill. It's something that it would be. It's a lot of love. It's a lot of dedication and a lot of like stuff you got to do. And people don't realize it's like if you're not sponsored like us, we have to buy all these DLC too. Like
yes.
we like me and Brian have had so many events where we forgot one DLC for three different accounts, and then
Hmm.
boom, that's like
That's
$40.
the spot. The most spot. No,
And
no
and
choice. None of that.
and that's the thing is,
Hmm.
and like most people, and like, and then if you get equipment, if you get these games, man, like you, we're not sponsored either, so we buy these games too, and we have three or four different sets of these games when they come out. That's the
Hmm.
thing is like people don't really realize that, and then honestly, like you know, the money we make and everything like that, it's. I'm not gonna say it's like we're like we're not rolling in dough. It's more just like we're doing this because we're using this for the next event. We're using this for the next part. We're gonna use this to get something else, and that's the thing a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of people are always like, man, like you should. What are you gonna be doing with the money you make? And I'm just like, oh, we're gonna use it against for something else. I'm like, huh? You know,
Yeah, it's
You're
just
reinvesting it.
reinvesting. That's it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
you have to
It's
reinvest everything you get.
And
Yeah.
I'm just, if I could add a little bit of context here, I mean, I'm just going to pull up two sources. One is an anonymous source within the DFW area,
Hmm.
where it is a venue that I will not disclose here, an individual that I will not disclose, but there's someone who runs a venue that is known for they host events, and the cost for that venue, I mean, 36,000 a day, and half for setup days.
Hey.
So
Yeah.
you're talking about, this is a big time venue that hosts big things. So
Yeah.
it's very tough to get that kind of an insight, and like the budget and the scope of an event obviously goes hand in hand. So the more that you're making, the more that you're reinvesting. People like Jabali, who I believe put out a tweet in 2022 saying like, oh, well, why not just move CEO to the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando? It's easy. First of all, just do
Right.
that.
Nope.
Finally put CEO Taku in alongside Hallmat because it was cost effective. But just doing that, internet alone cost $300,000. And that was for
internet's insane.
Yeah, and that was in 2022. Like when the costs weren't quite spiking that hard. Now to just run it alone and like just out of Orange County Convention Center, you're probably looking at $500,000. And in order to cover that back in 2022, would have had to charge $500 for venue. Like this is the sort of thing that you're talking about that people I don't think really consider when it comes to the cost of running these bigger things.
Yeah.
I would like to say that when I was traveling and going places and playing, the one thing I would always try to do is meet the TO. And that's how me and BG even meet. I go to a tournament and I got there a little late so I couldn't even participate, but I was still there. And the first thing I did was I found the person who was doing it. And I introduced myself to him, shook his hand, thanked him. And now I'm here sitting with him. And, now I consider him, a good close friend, actually. And I feel like if I was to reach out to BJ, like, hey, man, I'm having a bad day, he would sit and listen. It's just the TOs don't get the credit that they deserve. And a lot of people, especially someone like me who doesn't know until I really meet TOs, I don't know what goes on in that. But everybody has this idea that they're just collecting all this money and getting rich. And in reality, I really haven't seen a rich one. I assume the big guys are rich, but I don't know how much money they actually take home,
That's what's so ridiculous to me. Is it's like, I see this person who's like, just kind of becoming famous on the internet and they don't do anything at the tournaments. It's like, you have no idea what they do in between tournaments.
Yeah.
You have no clue.
No clue.
Like, none.
Right. No, it's right back to the grind, and I thank you, Smitty, for that. Introducing yourself and us being friends now and all of that, because that does not happen a lot. Tiger Tosser knows that. Most of the time, the only time you hear from the players is when something's wrong, when it's lag or, my bracket doesn't look right. I've had people say, this is my brother. We play all the time. Like, it's 500 people in the tournament, Hey, we do the best we can. We try to make it as fair, as friendly, as inviting as possible. But you can't please everybody. But it is a labor of love, just like Tiger Tosser said. Because every cent that we make, we reinvest. It is not going home to anything that I would like to buy.
Yep.